The name itself is a whisper of a world that is not there. Greenland, a promise of emerald fields and gentle slopes. But geography can be the cruelest of storytellers. Here, 80% of the land lies entombed beneath a colossal sheet of ice, a frozen dominion where time itself seems to stand still. In this cold, death is denied its finality. 500-year-old Inuit mummies lie in a state of impossible preservation, the delicate frost of their eyelashes defying the centuries. And yet, life clings to this place. A question hangs in the frigid air. What deep imperative drives humanity to make a home on a land where even the past refuses to fade? The answer begins not with geography, but with a name, a founding myth crafted by the Norseman Erik the Red. During a fleeting warm period, when small pockets of the south could support meager farms, he christened this formidable island Greenland. It was a masterstroke of branding, a siren's call to lure settlers across treacherous seas to a remote and unforgiving frontier. Centuries later, the allure of this land persists, though the reasons have changed. In 2019, its strategic position and the untold resources locked beneath its ice prompted the United States to express interest in its purchase. The offer was swiftly dismissed by Denmark. For those who know it, this island's value cannot be measured in currency. It is a value written in ice. To understand, one must journey to the edge of the great ice sheet, and gravel gives way, with shocking abruptness, to a colossal wall of frozen history. It is one of the few places on Earth where the interior of this ice-bound continent can be reached by road, where one can simply walk up to the precipice of antiquity. The glacier rises hundreds of feet into the Arctic sky, a sheer cliff of compressed time. Its face is a manuscript, with stratified bands telling stories of ancient snowfalls and long-forgotten melt cycles. Within its depths, fractures reveal a dense, impossible blue, the color of air squeezed from millennia of snow, light captured and held by immense pressure. At its base, a powerful artery of meltwater bursts forth, carving channels through the stone. It is the sound of a frozen world in motion, the constant, steady pulse of a land that is far more alive than it appears. Each drop is a release, a memory of sunlight from an age long past, now returning to the world. Here, at the margin of ice and rock, one does not simply see a landscape. One bears witness to the slow, inexorable breathing of a planet. It is a landscape that speaks, a constant, low rumble, the voice of the ice in motion. From its deepest sections, a sudden crack echoes, the sound of internal stresses, shifting under immense, silent pressure. Below, the outwash plain serves as a chronicle, written in silt and stone. With the brief warmth of the Arctic summer, the meltwater stream widens, carrying the fine ground rock of the continent across the valley floor. Monoliths of ice, sheared from the glacier's face, settle onto the gravel beds, waiting to dissolve back into the water that birthed them. But as the cold returns, the flow constricts. The surface hardens into a frozen tableau, etching the memory of past currents into its crystalline skin. Here, at the Russell Glacier, the Greenland ice sheet reveals its secrets. Processes that typically unfold in the remote, inaccessible heart of the Arctic are laid bare, a theater of creation and decay at the edge of a road. The water carries these stories onward, into Disco Bay. It is only from the deck of a small vessel that the true scale of this kingdom of ice becomes apparent. Mountains, born of the great ice sheet, now float free, their peaks rising several hundred feet above the waves. Each surface is a history book, its layers telling of millennia of snowfall and compression. Some are newly born, their edges sharp as shattered glass. Others, ancient and weathered, have been smoothed by the ceaseless caress of wind and water. As the day wanes, the low Arctic sun performs its alchemy. Simple white transforms into a palette of fire and gold. Shadows deepen, carving out textures and forms unseen in the stark light of noon. It is a fleeting trick of the light, yet it reveals the very soul of the ice. And in these same hallowed waters, life endures. A plume of vapor rises, the breath of a humpback whale, a sound that carries across the profound silence before vanishing. A tale, immense and deliberate, lifts from the depths. It is a gesture of immense power, offered with a grace that needs no emphasis. Nearby, the island of Kekertarswak offers a stark counterpoint. Here, there are stretches of black sand, the fine ground remnant of ancient volcanic fire. Life is tenacious, but spare. Patches of Arctic flora cling to the ground, finding purchase in small pockets where the summer sun offers just enough warmth to survive. Against this backdrop of elemental forces, a human rhythm persists. In the months when halibut swim in the accessible shallows, the day begins before dawn. Small fishing boats push out from the settlements, their long lines coiled, their insulated containers ready. A winch stands poised to haul life from the cold, dark water, a harvest wrested from the edge of the ice. Here, the planet breathes in geologic time. The movement of ice, the fire of the earth, the fleeting warmth of a summer sun. In this grand, unfeeling cycle, life finds its foothold. In the whale's dive, in the stubborn plant, in the fisherman's line. It is a reminder that in the face of such immense and patient power, survival itself is the most profound story of all. In the cold, nutrient-rich waters, a line descends. Its journey into the dark is a steady, practical rhythm, a conversation between human hands and the unseen ocean floor. Each retrieval brings halibut from the depths, measured, cleaned, and consigned to the frozen hold of the boat. But these fishing grounds are not solely the domain of man. They intersect with the ancient pathways of marine mammals. With the brief northern summer, humpback whales gather where krill and small fish concentrate in the deep green currents. Their movements are a predictable, timeless ballet, a surge to the surface to breathe, a momentary pause, and then the slow, powerful dive, punctuated by the lift of a massive tail fluke. This choreography repeats throughout the long days, a pattern of life observed and documented. Underwater, these same giants move with methodical grace, their fins carving wide, deliberate sweeps through the dense feeding zones. Here, two seasonal activities unfold in parallel: the patient work of fishing and the urgent feeding of whales. Both occur against a third, silent migration, the steady, inexorable drift of icebergs, creating a world of overlapping layers, of human endeavor and profound natural behavior. There is a place where the sound arrives before the sight. At first, it resembles distant thunder, an atmospheric disturbance on a day of impossible clarity. The sound emanates from a glacier in a constant state of dissolution. Only after the echo settles does the source reveal itself. A long, vertical wall of ice stretching across the bay, its face a map of immense pressure and deep fractures. This is the glacier known as Eki, the loudest in the region. Here, the process of calving occurs with unnerving frequency. Without warning, vast sections of ice shear away from the front. They fall into the water with a force that sends waves radiating outward, the impact throwing plumes of spray high into the Arctic air. A brief, ringing silence follows, before the next crack spiders across the ancient ice. Life persists even here, at the edge of destruction. Ringed seals rest on small floes, the drifting debris of the glacier's collapse. They lift their heads at intervals, scanning the water with dark, placid eyes, then return to a state of profound stillness. They seem untroubled by the ongoing cataclysm, so long as it unfolds at a predictable distance. Their presence is a quiet lesson in adaptation, a practical demonstration of how wildlife finds shelter and sustenance in the most active and volatile of environments. At Eki, the pace of geologic time becomes visible. Each calving event is a wound, exposing new, brilliant blue layers from within the glacier's heart, while older, weathered surfaces break away to begin their slow journey out to sea. Further along the coast, a fragile human footprint appears. The settlement of Ilimanak emerges quietly from the shoreline, its wooden houses arranged in small clusters above the water. Their walls of red, blue, and yellow stand in stark relief to the snow, a pattern of life, easily recognized even in the fading light. The community is small, home to only a few dozen residents. Daily activity is tethered directly to the sea, to fishing, to the maintenance of equipment, to routines shaped not by the clock, but by the turning of the seasons. It is a world built on the edge of immensity, a delicate intersection of human routine, animal instinct, and the slow, indifferent power of ice. Here, survival is not about conquering the landscape, but about understanding its rhythms, the deep, resonant pulse of a world forever being born and forever coming apart. On the edge of the Greenlandic ice fjord, the past and present exist in a stark, silent dialogue. Weather-beaten homes, etched with the stories of generations, stand beside sleek, modern structures built for visitors drawn to the Great Wall of Ice. Here, the rhythm of existence is not dictated by the clock, but by the elements. Boats are hauled far onto the shore, braced for the grip of the colder seasons. Tools and gear lie close at hand, extensions of the home, ready for the moment they are needed. Every choice, from the angle of a roof to the timing of a journey, is a negotiation with the environment. Life moves with a quiet purpose. Conversations are brief, exchanged between storage sheds and drying racks, measured against the vastness of the shoreline. The pace is set by the shifting weather, not by schedules. In this landscape, wildlife is not a spectacle, but a fellow inhabitant. Seabirds gather at the water's edge. An Arctic fox, a fleeting ghost of white, passes through on its search for sustenance. These are not events, but threads in the fabric of daily life. A recent change has arrived in the form of minimalist Blackwood lodges, a project born of a partnership with UNESCO. Raised on deep, stable foundations, they are engineered to withstand the relentless cycles of freeze and thaw, the fury of seasonal storms. Their purpose is twofold: to offer shelter while leaving the smallest possible footprint on the coastline, preserving the traditional sightlines of the settlement. While some now guide visitors or prepare meals, the old work continues. Nets are mended, fishing lines checked. Sleds and boats are maintained with a knowledge passed down through an unbroken chain. But this land preserves more than just a way of life. It preserves life itself. At a place known as Killer Kitsock, the earth gave up one of its most profound secrets: 8 Inuit mummies, held in a state of suspended animation for more than 5 centuries. Their preservation is a miracle of circumstance, orchestrated entirely by the Arctic climate. Here, the temperatures remain punishingly low, and the cold, dry air is a warden against the bacteria and moisture that fuel decay. Layer upon layer of clothing froze and refroze, forming a natural seal that protected the skin, the hair, and the intricate stitching of their garments. They rested within a sheltered rock hollow, a natural crypt where winter winds siphoned away any warmth, reinforcing the deep freeze. The slightest variation in weather could have unraveled it all, yet the precise combination of cold, shade, and stillness kept them intact, a time capsule from the late 15th century. Among the discoveries was a woman, placed with a child wrapped carefully in sealskin, a silent, heartbreaking testament to the rituals of grief and love. Today, they are kept under controlled conditions, shielded from a warmer world that would undo in moments what nature protected for half a millennium. The site itself remains a stark reminder of how extreme environments can arrest the passage of time, leaving behind an astonishingly clear record of a people, their culture, and their enduring presence in one of the planet's most unforgiving frontiers. The passage maintains its unyielding course, a liquid corridor carved from stone, drawing the eye toward the silent sentinels of the horizon. Here, the water's surface is a sheet of obsidian glass, broken only by the vessel's patient advance and the ghostly procession of drifting ice. High above, a mantle of snow clings to the precipice, while below, exposed rock reveals the deep striations of ancient glaciers, scars from a forgotten age of ice. Veins of meltwater trace silver paths down the sheer rock face. Some dissolve into vapor before they can touch the sea. Others hold their form, striking the sound with a whisper, sending out small, concentric ripples. Only at close range does the true immensity of the cliffs declare itself. In the intricate textures of stone, the deep fissures etched by time, and the stubborn green of moss finding purchase in sheltered hollows. For mile after unforgiving mile, the profile holds, a testament to a power that shaped a continent. Along the edges, clusters of ice gather, low and rounded, drifting slowly with the turning tide. They become fleeting perches for seabirds, small bursts of life in a landscape of profound stillness. Then, against the elemental gray and white, a sudden burst of color. Clinging to the contours of a natural harbor, a settlement rises in tiers of crimson, blue, and gold. This is Qaqortoq, a principal bastion of community in southern Greenland. Here, the rhythm of life is dictated by the sea. Vessels ply the harbor in the fleeting warmth of summer, bearing supplies, carrying fishermen, and welcoming travelers from the labyrinthine fjords. But what truly sets this town apart is not found in its harbor, but in the very rock upon which it is built. An open-air gallery, known as Stone and Man, has transformed the landscape. Faces, creatures, and abstract forms emerge from the native granite, chiseled directly into the town's foundation. Wrought by hand over many years, each sculpture is a dialogue between artist and geology, its precise marks enduring the relentless cycle of freeze and thaw. They are discovered, not merely observed, hidden along footpaths, watching from building walls, integrating art into the fabric of daily existence. At the heart of the town, a fountain, said to be the oldest in all of Greenland, marks the central square. It is a nexus for the community, a place where stories are exchanged under the long summer sun. As daylight extends its reign, cafes and shops spill into the open, and the town awakens to a brief, vibrant season where cultivated flowers bloom defiantly against the stone. In this land of giants, humanity does not seek to conquer the rock, but to commune with it. The faces carved into the cliffs are not monuments to permanence, but fleeting expressions of presence, a quiet acknowledgement that even in the shadow of eternity, a single, deliberate mark can hold the weight of a world. At the entrance to the world's largest fjord system, colossal basalt formations stand guard. They are a library of geologic time, their layers chronicling millions of years of volcanic fire. High on the upper ridges, the cliffs burn with a reddish tone, ignited by the Arctic sun. Far below, the water holds a deep and profound blue, its color shifting with the passing of clouds. Here, nestled between the ancient rock, ephemeral bursts of color punctuate the stark landscape. Homes, painted in vibrant hues, mark the presence of a human community. This is Scoresby Sund, a town that is both a residence and a gallery, where art is woven into the fabric of daily life, inseparable from the movement across the harbor and the hillside. It exists as a living testament to the dialogue between enduring tradition and contemporary influence. The fjord system itself extends across a vast network of narrow channels and wide, silent basins. Long stretches of exposed rock dominate the coastline, their surfaces scoured clean by time and ice. During the warmer months, small pieces of ice drift through the channels, remnants of a seasonal melt rather than the cataclysm of a major calving event. They move slowly, their shapes endlessly varied, their passage tracked on a liquid surface so stable it acts as a flawless mirror. Life here is limited, but visible. Birds circle the high cliffs, their calls echoing in the immense quiet. They rest on rocky outcrops, their brief appearances only emphasizing the profound stillness of the fjord complex, never interrupting it. But this landscape exists in two distinct states, dictated by the turning of the seasons. As winter descends, the channels surrender to the cold. The sea freezes, transforming into a continuous, solid surface. A new world emerges, a uniform plain of ice stretching between the cliffs, opening highways for helicopters and sleds. Then, with the return of the sun, comes the great thaw. The frozen surface shatters, breaking apart into vast plates that drift until they dissolve. Open water returns. Small vessels can once again navigate the wide basins, and newly formed icebergs, born of increased glacial flow, appear as fresh material in the channels. One world relies on the consistency of solid ice, the other on the freedom of open water. Here, existence is not measured in hours or days, but in the fundamental state of the world itself, a cycle of flux and permanence, where the very ground beneath one's feet is merely a seasonal promise. In the high Arctic, one existence depends on navigable waters, a world shaped by the slow choreography of melt and drift. Here, in northeast Greenland, a vast and silent expanse of tundra reveals one of the largest protected realms on the planet. It is a domain where the very rhythm of movement is dictated not by humans, but by the creatures who inhabit it. Across the immense plain, the ground is a canvas of unbroken white. Motion is a rarity, an event marked by the passage of musk oxen. They travel in tight-knit herds, their long the thickness of their wool, their slow, deliberate pace. It is a testament to their resilience, a perfect adaptation to the biting cold and the sparse vegetation hidden beneath. Others share this landscape. The Arctic fox moves Y, rendering it invisible until it crosses a patch of dark, wind-swept earth, or pauses, head cocked, listening for the faint stirrings of prey buried deep beneath the snow. And sometimes, a whisper on the horizon, an Arctic wolf. It follows a similar pattern of movement, a phantom on a grander scale, tracing ancient paths across the frozen silence. The land itself is a study in minimalism. There are few vertical features to break the endless horizontal, only low ridges and solitary sentinels of stone. For most of the year, thin layers of moss and grass lie dormant, waiting for the brief, explosive life of the warmest weeks. The wind is the only true sculptor here, carving delicate patterns into the snow, patterns that remain undisturbed for immense stretches of time, a testament to the profound absence of human interference. Yet, humans are here. On stable ground above the shoreline, a small cluster of wooden houses stands firm, marking one of the most isolated communities in the world. Life follows a quiet cadence, shaped entirely by the seasonal pulse of the ice. Daily activity is organized around subsistence, around the ancient practices of survival. In the fleeting warmth, boats are the essential link to the outside world. But when winter locks the sea in its grip, travel depends on the strength of the ice, a frozen highway solid enough to bear the weight of sleds and equipment. Hunting is not a sport, it is the central pillar of existence. Residents become expert observers, monitoring the movements of seals and marine life, their own journeys adjusted daily by the shifting, groaning surface of the sea ice. Close to their homes, storage sheds, drying racks, and snow machines stand ready. They are monuments to preparedness, to the constant anticipation of sudden, violent shifts in weather. Supplies are arranged to be within reach, a strategy for a world where conditions can tighten or loosen without warning. But this kingdom has a ruler, an apex predator whose presence commands respect and caution, the polar bear. They approach the settlement when the sea ice thins, their own hunting grounds shifting closer to the world of men. Every encounter is treated with a primal gravity. Tracks in the snow are not curiosities, they are urgent messages. Markings near the coast are checked with ritualistic frequency. Patrols move across the ice, ensuring all are aware of recent sightings. Here, vigilance is not an event, but a constant state of being. These precautions are woven into the fabric of the routine, a silent, unceasing dialogue with a world that is both provider and peril. In this immense silence, all life is bound by the same ancient laws, a shared, fragile existence etched at the very edge of the world. The terrain unfolds in a vast, open expanse, a panorama of tundra, low-slung ridges, and frozen inlets where vegetation clings to a marginal existence. Here, humanity's mark is a fragile one, confined to the scattered houses and work areas, and the slender travel routes that radiate from the heart of the community. Beyond the last bastion of rocky ground, a colossal rise of pale ice crests the horizon. This is the threshold known as Point 660, a gateway to the Greenland ice sheet, where researchers and guides step from the solid earth directly onto the living glacier. The surface is a testament to immense forces and the slow passage of time. Long, deep fractures score its face. Layers, compressed over millennia, form shallow ridges, the physical record of a continent's seasonal breath. In the warmer months, a transformation begins. Meltwater gathers on the high ice, and what starts as a trickle quickly forms channels, which then swell into rushing streams, carving brilliant sapphire arteries through the white expanse. The water's impossible blue is a product of its purity and depth, a stark and beautiful contrast against the frozen world it dissects. Some streams meander across level plains before plunging into moulins, deep vertical shafts where the ice has weakened. Others merge, their combined force carving a singular, dominant path that will remain etched into the surface for the entire season. The surrounding ice is not a uniform white, but a subtle palette of hues created by trapped air, varying densities, and shifts in thickness, a complex language that reveals the glacier's secrets of movement and how surface water communes with its ancient, deeper layers. Further inland, the pattern grows more intricate, a complex vascular system of countless streams connecting across a vast, frozen watershed. This water is destined for the sea, feeding into a monumental river of ice that grinds its way to the ocean. This is the Ilulissat Ice Fjord, one of the most active and formidable glacial outlets on the planet. Its surface is a chaotic landscape of deep crevasses and immense compressed ridges. The glacier advances relentlessly, a conveyor of frozen time. At irregular, violent intervals, the great calving begins. A separation line fractures across the face with astonishing speed. With a deafening roar, a mountain of ice detaches and is borne into the sea, rotating and tilting as it finds its new equilibrium. Many of these new bergs tower several hundred feet above the water, their sheer faces displaying the internal layers of ancient snow, compacted over centuries. The scale and frequency of these events make this fjord one of the most productive iceberg nurseries in the Northern Hemisphere. From this very crucible of ice, a ghost of history was born. It is believed that the iceberg that sealed the fate of the Titanic originated in this system. Historical reconstructions of ocean currents and the glacier's output in the early 1900s point here, linking that singular disaster to the continuous, inexorable release of ice that defines this place. The water is now a mosaic of these frozen monoliths and the countless smaller fragments left in their wake. Each piece, large and small, is a temporary monument, a piece of the past released into the present, destined to melt back into the ocean from which it once came. They are reminders that even the most colossal and seemingly permanent fixtures of our world are caught in a slow, relentless cycle of creation and dissolution. In the immense quiet of the fjord, a low-frequency sound emerges, the groan of ice in slow, inexorable collision. These are the voices of giants, their movements a clear record of the glacier's pace through the warm season. Monitored by time-lapse and satellite, their speed and thickness tell a story of profound change. As the fjord opens to the sea, the great monoliths disperse, spreading across the bay, each a testament to the power shaping this land. Here, a sharply defined mountain rises, its profile a distinct and unmistakable heart, one of the most recognizable silhouettes in all of Greenland. This formation gives its name to the settlement nestled at its base, Uummannaq. Wooden houses are arranged across the rocky ground, a compact community adapted to the unforgiving terrain. Each structure stands on an elevated foundation, a necessary defense against frost, snow, and the seasonal instability of the very earth beneath. Their careful placement creates clear paths to work areas, to storage sheds, to the vital shoreline where fishing equipment, sleds, and small boats reveal the primary activities that sustain life. Colorful exterior walls stand in stark contrast to the exposed rock, a vibrant human signature on an ancient canvas. During the long, colder months, it is music that provides the structure for the community. Performers don traditional clothing, stitched with beads and patterned textiles, garments designed as much for ceremony as for insulation. The frame drum is held outward, struck on the rim by a wooden stick, its steady rhythm a guidepost against the encroaching dark. These gatherings are a fusion of old and new, combining ancient drum patterns with more recent influences, creating a routine that remains constant for adult and child alike. When the world outside becomes impassable, music is no longer a performance, but a shared tool for coordination, for the preservation of stories, for learning. It is a way to reinforce connections that span generations. Local tradition has woven its own stories into this landscape. The mountain's singular shape and the isolation of summer made it a fitting home for Santa Claus, a cultural reference more than a historical claim, a tale told during community events, inseparable from the local music and storytelling. For long periods, the environment is defined by a profound silence, broken only by the movement of small groups of residents and the panting of working dogs. In winter, sound carries with an impossible clarity across the ice. It becomes a tangible presence in the air. This is a world transformed by summer, when the silence gives way to open water and the steady rhythm of boat traffic. Here, survival is a conversation between the people and the place, a dialogue written in color and architecture, carried on the wind in story and in song. Through every shift of season, every turn of light, the mountain endures. It is the silent anchor around which all life is arranged, its shape a constant presence on the horizon. As the day unfolds, the sun charts a slow course across the sky, revealing the hidden textures of ancient rock and the clustered homes nestled at its feet. Along the coastline, a dense tapestry of modern structures emerges, a clear signal of Greenland's largest urban center. This is Nuuk, a city where long-standing Inuit traditions meet the complex machinery of the 21st century. Here, residential complexes, offices, and public edifices climb the terraced terrain, forging a layout utterly distinct from the small, scattered communities that dot the vast nation. Among them, one structure stands apart, the Kachuak Cultural Center. Its sweeping, curved facade of wood is a contemporary statement, designed to be a vessel for concerts, exhibitions, and the vital pulse of community gatherings. Inside, light and sound are engineered to embrace every performance, while rotating displays serve as a testament to both deep Inuit heritage and the bold new forms of modern creative expression. It is a nexus, a meeting point for residents, visitors, and artists drawn from every region of Greenland. The daily activity of Nuuk moves to an urban rhythm, one shaped by education, government, fishing, and nascent industries. Schools and administrative offices mark the passage of the year, while the hum of restaurants and small businesses speaks to a diversifying economy. A steady flow of traffic navigates the streets, and public transport links the central district to neighborhoods clinging to the surrounding slopes. Yet the old ways persist. Fishing boats still depart with the tide, their purpose unchanged for generations. In workshops, tools for the hunt and for winter travel are meticulously maintained. Many who live here lead a dual existence, balancing modern employment with seasonal rituals tied to the land and the history of their families, a complex synthesis of routines that shifts from one household to the next. This duality is written into the architecture itself. Classic wooden houses stand beside newer concrete structures, a visual chronicle of the city's journey from a settlement focused on subsistence to a functioning capital with an ever-expanding infrastructure. Still, the skyline remains low, surrendering always to the immense mountainous backdrop that dominates every frame. Out on the water, ice and sea blend into a single, continuous expanse. The stillness is broken only by the steady passage of a vessel, its wake a fleeting scar on the surface, healing almost as soon as it is made. And then, far above, the sky begins to change. Slow bands of color ignite and drift across the celestial canvas. Their movement is utterly silent, a cosmic dance unfolding in a theater of impossible scale. Here, under the ancient shimmering light, the future of a people is being forged, a quiet evolution at the edge of the world. Here, at the edge of the world, the light itself is unmoored, shifting without a fixed pattern, without promise. The silence is broken, not by life, but by the land itself. A deep groan echoes across the expanse, the sound of cracking ice, fading into vast, patient intervals. Then, it returns, a percussive report from somewhere beyond the visible edge, a reminder of immense, unseen forces at play. Through the veil of sweeping cloud, signs of humanity flicker into view. Small settlements, huddled against the coast, appear for a moment as if in a dream. Just as quickly, they are reclaimed by the gathering dark, their existence a fragile whisper against the elements. Nothing here signals a conclusion. There are no final acts. The landscape simply continues its ancient rhythm. The sky maintains its slow, inexorable pulse. And the water, cold and absolute, absorbs every trace of what has been. Every ripple, every echo, every fleeting moment is drawn down into its depths, becoming part of a silence that holds the memory of millennia.